Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Great show coming up for you today. Steve Spurrier will join us. Jeff Cardozo, a little bit of a surprise guest on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, will be in studio. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We always love Jeff being around. Of course, Robbie actually is in the mountains having Thanksgiving, so we gave him the week off. So Jeff will be joining us. Don't forget Wednesday, special Thanksgiving show, special 300th episode show, and we got a great guest, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, will be joining us. Can't wait for that. Next week, Monday, it'll be Coach Spurrier again, and then Thursday, be back on schedule with Brandon Spikes. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate all the people that have come on the show. Let's get to our process service of Gainesville starting five. We can make it to starting five. Ooh, fried. All right, let's get to the process service starting five, brought to you by Process Service of Gainesville. Appreciate Scott Hart and for being a great sponsor. Let's get to number one. All I could think about before 4th and 17 was don't be FSU 2003. I mean it. It just flashed in my head briefly. So when it happened, I went, it's just like it. If you remember that game in 2003, Florida it was 4th and 13 in that case, and they were about to beat FSU. Ron Zook, it was going to be his signature win, and they weren't great that year, as they weren't great the next year when he did beat them in Tallahassee. But the same kind of play. Ran a kind of a long, deep square in, right in front of the defense, caught the ball, and next thing you know, they win the game on a heave on the next play, which at least this team didn't give up a touchdown the next play. They gave up a field goal. The point is, look, I think I know a lot about playing defense. I hate zone defenses. I hate zone defenses that are not set up to stop a 4th and 17. But again, this was a freshman not getting back. Manny Nunnery playing linebacker. He didn't get back deep enough in the zone. If he got back deep enough in the zone against the best player one of the best players in the SEC, Luther Burden, maybe they knock it down, and we're all celebrating. We're all talking what bowl is Florida going to. I don't know what to say about it, but I wouldn't have played that defense. But it's easy to say that today. Say it right before please don't go to zone. Well, that's what I was saying. Here's what I would have played. I would play man, and I would have 3 safeties. Look, that's 4 men covering, 3 safeties back, and those 3 safeties do not allow anybody to catch the ball, at the first down marker. That's me, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't get defensive football. All I know is at one point I was writing Saturday night, and I said, hey, Florida's defense really, other than that last series, didn't play that terrible. And then I said, they gave up 508 yards and 33 points. That's considered okay. That's not considered okay. Florida's got to get better on defense. You know the answer to that. Better players, better coaching. They're not being coached well, and if they're being coached well, they're not responding to it. They got to get better at that. That's number one on the process service of Gainesville starting five. Let's get to what the offense has been able to do. Offense has averaged in the last 3 games 34.7 points a game. So now in the last 3 weeks, really, all the blame for this season has shifted to the defense. But the offense, now everybody's going, man, maybe Napier needs to start calling plays, keeps calling plays. But then there are still people who go, I didn't like the time management at the end of the half or at the end of the game when they had a chance to knock more time off the clock or maybe go for the jugular. You had a backup quarterback in there who probably didn't get a lot of reps. I think he might be a good player. He certainly did a lot of great things there. He got him in position to kick the field goal. When you're in that situation, you're trying to kick the field goal. And you are going to put the ball on Trace Mack's foot. He's been good all year. He missed the one kick, but he's been good all year. I got the way they were conservative on offense. Again, with a backup quarterback. Again, hindsight, seems like they could have done a little bit more, gone for the jugular, maybe gotten one more first down and force him to take out. As much as I love what Trevor Etienne did in that game, him running out of bounds was not smart. You got to just lay down. I know he was trying to get as much yardage as he can, but that was not a good call. All right, number 3 on the process service of Gainesville starting 5. Are the quarterback situations. Obviously, Graham Mertz, broken collarbone, out rest of the season. I hope he comes back for another year. I think if you can have him tutor Langway, that would be unbelievable. But that's my job. I'm not going to be like Aaron. Was it Aaron Rodgers who said that about Jordan Love? And Brett Favre said it about Aaron Rodgers. It's not my job to coach the quarterbacks up. Because you're not making enough money to actually do that. Anyway, but this is different. This is college football. I hope he comes back, but whatever he does, I think he really is going to go down as one of the most beloved quarterbacks in Florida history. I never thought I'd be saying that before the season because of the way he got hurt. He got hurt trying to get more yards because he wanted to win this game so badly. He hasn't been great this year, but he's been good, and he's been way better than anybody thought he was going to be. And then, of course, Jordan Travis was in the running for the Heisman. I don't think he was going to win it, but he was in the running and makes a difference on that team. He goes out, and that was really depressing. And, boy, look, my heart doesn't break for FSU fans very often, but it did when he went out, and you could see older women especially crying in the stands because they probably have a son about that age. And to see him go down like that with all that was going for him, chance to win the national title, and it doesn't mean it's gone, but it's less likely. So we get 2 backup quarterbacks for this game, and but we do get the starters because you know who's starting? Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, they're starting for this game, 7 o'clock. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch on ESPN. Again, this is a football-dominated podcast, and it's a football-dominated town. We all know that. I've been told this story that last year when Todd Golden was opening up practices in the preseason, nobody was showing up, and he couldn't understand it. And so he said, hey, we were going to open up just a little bit. We're going to open up at all. You guys come watch. We want to. And everybody's like, we got to write football stories. And I understand. He'll get that. I think he's probably grasped it now. But I want to talk about Florida and FSU in basketball. We'll talk about Florida FSU football later when Coach Spurrier gets here. But to win that game and to destroy an FSU team, and again, I don't know how good they're going to be. I wrote about this in my back nine today. I go, and now comes the really hard part where you have to watch like FSU and Duke and Kentucky or North Carolina and Wake Forest and root for them to win. Usually you root for them to lose, but you got to root for them to win because it makes your win better. I don't know how good they are. They didn't look very good in the first half. That's all I know. I was hoping the score was going to be 52-20, but it was 52-22 at the half. But this is what Florida has. He's turned Florida into is a team that can come at you with a lot of bigs, and that's what FSU used to be, that team. That you go, how do they have another 7-2 guy in the game? That's what they were. Not all were exceptionally skilled, but they were good players. And now that's what Florida is. They bring a bunch of guys in. Of course, he just signed a 7'6" guy for 2 years from now. They're going with height, and they're going to get bigger. But it was a great win. Of course, they've got a game Wednesday coming up. That'll be fun. This is a great stat Denver Parlor put out. Denver does a great job as the sports information director. Florida has had, in its last 3 games, 20-plus offensive rebounds. And I think the stat he had, there was like 239 games where they had 3 3 times had 20-plus rebounds, offensive rebounds. I like that. I like a team that can rebound. Look, we all want a team that makes every shot, dunks every ball, gets every rebound, but this has been a problem for Florida, kind of like defense on football has been a problem. But this has been a problem for Florida over the last few years. Haven't had enough big guys, haven't been able to rebound, haven't crashed the boards well. They were supposed to get better last year. They were worse. They were last in the SEC. It's going to make this a lot of fun to watch, I hope, going forward. Again, we're 4 games in. Let's not get too excited, but that was a good win for them. Let's get to number 5, which is on the process service of Gainesville starting 5, which is what happened with the Chip Kelly thing. Chip Kelly was gone, right? He was fired, going to be fired after the USC game. We read that all over the place, Twitter, social media. And then he beats the crap out of USC. And everybody, and then they come on the air and say, you know, Chip Kelly went to his AD and said, hey, what's up? And he said, hey, you got nothing to worry about. You're fine. Now, was that a vote of confidence that was, you know, not a vote of confidence? No, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes because I'd heard that there were some problems with boosters and stuff. I didn't know UCLA had a lot of boosters, but that is a job that is perfect for Chip Kelly, but he's not had that success we thought he'd have. Maybe the game has passed him by a little bit, but he beat USC. If you get fired after beating USC and going to a bowl game, I don't know where college football is. One coach did get fired this weekend. That was Dino Babers at Syracuse. Not a surprise there. They had that little run where they got pretty good, and he was a big hot commodity, and then he probably should have taken a job. Let me tell you what, guys. I hate to say this because people get mad when I do, but if you're hot and jobs are being offered at you, sometimes it's a good idea to go ahead and take them. Not all the time. Charlie Strong should never have taken the Texas job. There are times when it's a bad move to take a better job, but Dino Babers probably should have. But anyway, he's gone, and we'll see who they end up hiring. Dan Mullen's name comes up again. Dan Mullen's name has come up for every job that opens. And now people are talking about Lincoln Riley being on the hot seat. I'm like, he's not getting fired. Sometimes I just have to take a breath. That is college football, though. College football is, as much as anything, it's upsets and firings, or at least upsets and hot seats. That is what it is. And of course, there are plenty in the NFL as well. All right, that's going to do it for our opening segment, the process service of Gainesville starting 5. We'll take a break. When we come back, Coach Spurrier will join us and talk about Florida FSU and, of course, the Florida loss to Missouri. Here on another Dooley Noted podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
The Kiara Grace Foundation proudly presents an evening with Tim Tebow, Thursday, November 30th at the Touchdown Terrace at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Experience a once-in-a-lifetime VIP meet and greet with Tim. Hear his heartfelt stories and his unyielding dedication to the most vulnerable. With your support, we can extend the reach of the Kiara Grace Foundation to save precious lives in Latin America. Get your ticket before they sell out. Don't miss your chance to meet Tim Tebow, be inspired, and make a tangible difference.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Gator fans, football season is here. What's better than seeing the Gators back on the field? Easy. seeing amazing speakers and fellow Gator fans weekly at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Held every Tuesday night of a home game at the Best Western Gateway Grand. Enjoy happy hour, great food, valuable insights from yours truly and Andy Staples, plus notable speakers throughout the season. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or visit thequarterbackclub.org. Or better yet, just give me a call and I'll get you to the right people. Okay, welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studio. And Meldon Law also brings you Coach Spurrier every Monday. We love having him on to talk about all the things that are going on in college football, in golf, and baseball. We talk about everything here, don't we, Coach?
A little bit of everything. And, of course, our Gators had a tough loss.
Oh, that was...
we played well enough to win, and they hit a 4th and 17, and their kick field goal guy, he hadn't missed one yet this year, I don't think. So Mevis kicked the field goal that won the game for Missouri. But we got FSU this week.
Yep.
I got a feeling our crowd is really going to be there, going to be behind our team, and we got a chance to beat FSU. We really do.
Yeah, they do. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, again, I never thought we'd be seeing a situation where it was going to be I don't even know the quarterback's name, Rodaker, or against for FSU.
Both teams, yeah, both.
Against Max Brown. I mean, we never thought we'd see that, yeah.
Yeah, Max is a good player. I saw him in preseason, and I said, that guy's a good player. If we need him, he should be ready. And he did. He played well the other day. They had that little missed handoff thing.
Yep.
But other than that, he played very well, I thought. So if March cannot play, I think we're in good hands with him.
It's interesting because, you know, FSU now, I mean, Missouri clearly wasn't ready for Max Brown running the ball on the option. FSU is going to be ready for that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you're trying to scheme up an offense with a backup quarterback, I mean, you've dealt with that before when guys got hurt. I mean, you kind of want to put something in that's different that they haven't seen.
Well, you still put in some new plays.
Yeah.
But, Max, I think he's an excellent passer also. I know he didn't throw all that many the other day.
He sidearmed a couple, but they were on target, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And then our defense, we played well at times, but overall just not well enough to win the game. But anyway, the effort was good, and Billy Napier and the coaches had the guys ready to play. So I think we'll be ready this week, and if we could beat FSU, it could solve a lot of ills around here. Yeah, we'd be a happy bunch of Gators.
Now, again, back in 97, you guys were what, 9-2, or you'd lost twice that year, right?
Yeah.
And you beat them, and you were always saying, "Hey, we didn't win any championships today," but then as time went by, you went, "Oh, that was a really good win over those guys."
Well, actually, one of our goals was always to beat FSU.
Yeah.
And even the year we won the national championship, somebody said, "You hit all your goals, didn't you?" I said, "No, we lost at FSU."
That's right.
And we beat them the second go-around pretty good. But that was always one of our goals. And that team in 97, even though we had 2 conference losses, that's the only 2 all year.
I know.
That team finished 4th in the nation. So give those guys credit, man.
Yeah.
4th in the nation. Nobody can ever say that's a bad year.
No, I think anybody would take right now. Anybody would take 8-4.
Top 25 would take right now.
Exactly. Top 40 they would take. But I mean, obviously, we'll see how things go. And I'm not going to get into all the coach speak and everything. But you had to be your heart had to break for Graham Mertz, being a former quarterback. When he got hit by the first 2 guys, I'm like, oh, man.
Split him. Look how he split him.
But he split him, but then the next guy got him on the left shoulder.
Guys, yeah, 4. He took on 4 tacklers pretty much head on. And
which says a lot about him.
Yeah,
as
he's
a
a gutty player. Yeah, he had to get, about 8 yards or so. So he had to go through those first 2. I wish he'd sort of dove after that because I think he had the first down. But I don't know, maybe he's back. It's his left shoulder, isn't it? I don't know if it's dislocated or sprained or
No,
whatever.
it's a fracture, so he's done completely.
He's out.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's done for the rest of the year. Now the question is going to be whether he comes back next year, and we'll see how that goes. But
That's true.
But I just it's so funny how the Gator Nation fell in love with this guy that they were so upset about it they got in the first place. In the summer, they were all out. Florida can't win with Graham Mertz. We've watched film of him. We've watched Wisconsin games, but now they love the guy, and it's a shame that his season had to end this way because it's not his fault. Florida is 5-6 right now.
No, it's not. I think our defense is ranked bottom of the SEC, or close to bottom.
It's terrible.
Probably down there with Vanderbilt's, but I don't know. We got a bunch of young guys. We've had some guys hurt, but everybody sort of has their own issues. But then again, the season's not over, and if somehow or another we can find a way to win this one this week, we'll be looking to a bowl game and hopefully get ready for the off season and hold on to these big time recruits we got.
Yes.
That's what's crucial. Also, we got a bunch of top players signed up. I think 2 or 3 have left, but maybe they'll come back because signing day is still February, right? Or early signing day is December.
It's December, but then but most of them will sign by then. But the thing is, when you're a coach now, and I don't know how you would have felt about this, you're recruiting this new class, and you got to recruit all the players that are still here that you still want to keep. Now, you don't recruit them all because some guys have shown you that you don't need them around. But, I mean, you look at this young talent, it's amazing. I mean, Trey Wilson's really good. ETN is unbelievable.
Oh, yes.
But, you go through all these different players that are young that are coming back. And, Manny Nunnery, I know he made a mistake at the end of the game, but these are guys that are young players. So you got to keep them from going anywhere. Because you never know whether a kid's going to say, I don't want to go 5-7, or 6-6. I want to be on a national championship team. So Georgia says, yeah, come be our backup. And some guys fall for that,
Yeah, it is what it is, and you live with it and do the best you can with it. I was reading the other day that Georgia and Alabama, they bring in maybe 5 to 10 transfer guys, but some schools, like Ole Miss, brought in 35, I think it was. So they could change their roster every year just about. But there's two different ways to do it. But the money, you got to be able to match or this, that, and the other. I still don't know how I would have done it if I was coaching now. Your star player, is he going to get $500,000 and everybody else get $10,000?
That's right.
And if he's not your star player, then you've really made a mistake.
Well, basically, you're giving you have a budget and you have to fill the budget,
right?
But you can't go over the budget. It's like doing a movie. You got to come in under budget.
Yeah.
So. That would have probably driven you a little crazy, though.
Yeah,
having to do with all that.
But then again, NFL's like that.
Yeah,
Quarterbacks are all making now 35 to 55 million a year. Sounds like a lot. It is, I guess. But and then the linemen are making 2 or 3. So it's you just got to try to balance it and encourage your players. If you do very well, you'll get a little extra.
I saw a great cartoon. Speaking of coaches. That had successful firefighter, how much they made, successful teacher, how much they made, successful doctor, how much they, or nurse, how much they made, and then it was failed football coach, and they had Jimbo Fisher up there was getting his $77 million. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but this is what the market is. I mean, the football program is the front door to your school, and that's the way it is. It doesn't mean anybody has to like it, but it's just the way things work now.
That's true.
But we saw another coach get fired. Dino Babers got fired this week. But now what's interesting to me is, and I talked about this earlier, but the whole Chip Kelly thing. Chip Kelly was gone, right? He's fired. He's going to lose to USC and get fired, and there was reports, and now he beats the crap out of USC. So I guess they're going to keep him. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, they came out that Lincoln Riley's record now is worse than Clay Helton.
Yeah,
his first 2 years, the guy he replaced. And then, of course, Jimbo Fisher's record overall was worse than Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah,
when he was
it
there.
was.
So, yeah, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you've earned it. That just means that your agent talked to the AD and the school, and they're giving you more than they
Exactly.
should have.
Means you have a good
That's all
agent.
it means, yeah.
Did you ever work with Jimmy Sexton? Was he ever your agent?
No, not really. Not really. I didn't really work through a whole bunch of agents when I was coaching.
Yeah, because I think your tax guy was your agent the first time, right?
Well, actually, my Frank Lentz, who's like
Oh,
a
yeah,
financial
Franklin Lentz.
advisor.
Yeah, I know him very well, yeah.
Sold me some life insurance, some insurance policies, things like that. In fact, I still got 3 or 4 of them.
Really?
So, yeah, they. So anyway, that was about all I did. But I made plenty, so I didn't worry about it. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to.
I tell people if I'd had that buyout and all that, I might have got lazy. I might have said, hell, there's no sense in me winning.
Yeah.
I'm going to get more money when I get fired.
So what was your
Nah,
buyout?
I wouldn't have thought that, though.
I know you wouldn't have, but
At
what
Florida?
was your buyout? Yeah.
I don't know. Never thought I had one. I really didn't.
You weren't really worried about getting fired, though.
No, I wasn't worried about
You almost quit that one time, and after the '95 game.
I almost went to the pros.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I thought
after
about
the
it.
you got mad when they booed Robbie Stevenson. I remember that.
I wasn't going to quit over that. I was just saying, please don't boo our youngsters out there. It was a punter.
Yep,
Yeah.
Robbie Stevenson. Yep, left-footed punter.
He hit a bad one.
Freshman,
They
too,
booed,
yeah.
He hit a bad one, yeah.
Well, you'd had a couple of years of punting was a little off after Shane Edge left, I think, and he came in. But it was kind of foolish that people would boo.
That's
a
right.
punter.
Robbie punted in the national championship
did?
game. We beat
Yeah.
FSU.
Yeah.
He got back. Excellent punter. Yeah.
He did. He was very good. Ended up being a really good punter. All right, so college football this weekend. What else caught your eye? And how much are you looking forward to this weekend with all the rivalry games, two of which you were a part? Well, I mean, Duke, North Carolina was a big rival for you, right? And then you had Clemson, South Carolina after Florida, FSU.
Yeah, all 3 of those, the people in the same state, they don't like each other. So it's a huge game. It really is. In fact, the South Carolina-Clemson game is huge for the Gamecocks because they're trying to get to 6-6, just like we are.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the same boat with South Carolina, trying to get there and get to a bowl victory. So that'll make it interesting. They'll have a full house, just like I think we will. So
Is that in Columbia?
yeah, it's in Columbia
Okay.
this year. Duke's already played North Carolina.
They did,
They
yeah.
moved him in the middle of the year. I'm not sure who Duke has this week. It may be a non-conference game. But they've already got their 6 wins, so they're trying to get to 7-5 and go from there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And also this weekend, Tim Tebow comes back to town, and so maybe we can get Danny here and get all 3 Heisman
Well,
guys here.
I meant to say, I think I'm scheduled between the first and second quarter or at halftime to give him his Hall of Fame plaque.
Really?
So, yeah, we're going to honor Tim Tebow. He's being inducted in
He is,
College
yeah.
Football Hall of
Where-
Fame
where
this
he
year.
should be,
And
yep.
he definitely should be. And,
Well, you're in twice, right?
player and coach.
Player
Yeah.
and coach.
But anyway, I'm expecting one of the largest ovations for a player this Saturday night when Tim Tebow gets his Hall of Fame plaque.
It's kind of ironic that the other 15 won't be able to play. And Graham Mertz, who had, well, Derek Wingo will be able to play. He's number 15, too.
I see. Yeah.
I did want to ask you about that because it drives me nuts. Duplicate numbers. I used to argue with people in administration because they said, well, we got 120 players. Well, you don't dress 120 players. You can have different numbers, but how do you feel about duplicate numbers?
We didn't have many, did we?
No, not a lot. Yeah.
I don't even remember having to worry about it. Well, wait a minute, they got the same number. They can't be on the kickoff cover
But
team or
towards the
whatever.
end, you had to
We
have
might
that
have had
because
a
it was
few.
a recruiting thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not really, because Bates loves to tell the story about the linebacker that came in and wanted number 44. And I said, well, James Bates has that number. And Bates said, if I still got it, Coach. And I said, you got it until he beats you out. If he beats you out, he's got it, okay? So he said, that's fair. But no, we weren't going to give a number to a kid just for recruiting purposes.
Yeah, it was obviously a different world then too in college football. Yep. And of course, I wanted to, before I let you go, talk to you a little bit about Billy and how good the offense has been playing. I mean, I want to end this on a positive note. People wanted to talk about he needs to get rid of play calling, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. Over the last 4 or 5 games, they've been really good on offense. Now, I'm not saying all the play calls are the calls I would make, but he has done a great job putting up incredible numbers. They've lost 4 in a row, but in the last 3 games, they've averaged 34 points a game. That's all you can ask out of your offense, right?
Yeah, the offense has played a lot better. And we're talking about ETN, and every time I'm watching on television, I'm saying, watch this guy go. You give him a half a crack, and he just sprints through the line of scrimmage, breaks tackles, and so forth. But a great running attack and a great running back goes with good defense.
Yes.
You have to have both together.
Yes.
So that way you don't have
You
to.
can't always be playing from behind.
You can't say, well, we got to throw the ball. We got to throw the ball to score because our defense can't stop them. But Eric Rett, as you know, is the leading runner in school history, and he always played with some really good defenses. So we didn't have to throw 3 downs and come off the field or whatever. So he was going to get his carries because that's what we tried to do, mix it up.
Speaking of Trevor Etienne, let's get to our our Campus USA play. I don't know why I wrote down Swamp, but I wrote down Swamp. It wasn't in the Swamp. But our Campus USA play of the weekend, and here it was right here. Mertz scrambling and throws it across, and I'm like, they got a first. They got more than a first down. He's gone, and again, that's that burst you talked about. It's unique. And interestingly, only 2 touches in the first half of that game. And then the second half, they said, we got to get the ball to Trevor more often.
Yeah, I'd like to see him run about 25 times this week and make sure our defense can get the ball back, not have to stay on the field too long, and that'll give us a really good chance.
That defense is so young, I know, but it's been hard to watch sometimes. We all know that too. Anything else, Coach, before we let you go?
Oh, I think that's about all I wrote down.
FSU's now. Was FSU a bigger game to you as a college player or a college coach? Because they were way better as a college coach, but as a college player, that was still a big game.
I mean, it was a big game. It was right there with Georgia and Auburn. Georgia, Auburn, FSU, I guess, were the 3 biggest probably, but they weren't in the conference. So trying to win the conference championship is what you're trying to do right off the bat. But to win the state championship, of course, Miami's pretty good back in those days also.
Yep.
So anyway, but
where were you on the Lane Fenner catch? Were you watching that? Did you?
Yeah, I was down on the sideline. I looked at right like that, and he went rolling down the sideline, and the guy signaled him out. So so we held on to win that one. Like 22-19, I think it was.
The next year they had the picture of it plastered on their buses as they came in.
There was no replay back then.
There was no
66.
replay.
Yeah, no replay.
But
back then.
66 was also the great game that where you throw the ball to Charlie Casey at the
65.
end. 65.
65 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked me about that play the other day. He said he was in the stands. And
weren't they offsides on the play? So
they
you knew you had a
jumped
free
offside.
play? Yeah.
They jumped offside. It was just the old rollout. He runs about a 10-yard out, and that's the play we had on. And the guy jumped, and he jumped back, and I went, "Set hut." So I had it, and I think I saw the referee throw the flag. So you have a free play.
Yeah.
So Casey had run his out. And at the last minute, I gave him going up. And somebody said, "Well, you must have practiced that." I said, "We never did practice that." I said, "Let's throw it in the end zone. I got a free play." So he turned it up, and I threw it in the end zone and hit him, and so that won the game for that one. That was a loud noise in the Swamp.
Yep. Alan Trammell then picked it off and ran back.
He got one right at the end. Yeah.
Charlie Casey once told me that he lost the ball in the sun for a minute. He freaked out mentally. He said, "I can't see the ball," and then boom.
That was the game. Jack Harper ran sort of out and up, little wheelie as a halfback, and he caught it, right over his head. He was running for it, and all of a sudden the ball got right over him, and he said, I just put my hands out, and it stuck. It stuck in there. He said, I didn't see it the last few seconds, but I knew it was somewhere there, and it stuck in his hands. And, sometimes you're meant to win, sometimes you are not meant to win.
Yep.
And hopefully those not meant to wins don't happen but very few times.
Yeah, hopefully it turns at some point. You start to win those kind of close games. So we'll see how that goes. But it's funny, I was watching the Miami game, and they ran a wheel route, which I love the wheel route. I don't know why I would incorporate that into my offense. But when they ran, I go, oh, that's a pick play. It's going to come back. And I'm looking for the flag, and the flag never comes out. Well, the two Miami guys ran into each other. They picked each other off the play, and that's why I love the wheel route.
Yeah,
you know what I don't like? Zone defenses. I'll never learn to love zone defenses in my life because you got guys not covering anybody. They're covering space.
Well, the best defenses are those that can mix it up.
Yeah.
Man and zone. Because you have a lot of plays that are good against man and some good against zone. And now teams are, all right, this side, if they play zone, I'm going to play this side. If it's man to man, I'm going to probably play this side.
Right.
So it's a coach's game.
Yep,
and
I'm
telling you, the offense has the advantage now. They have the advantages. Heck, they call it interference almost any time a defensive back touches a guy the wrong way. So it is. It's an offensive game, and you better be able to keep up with them. Although Michigan, they don't play a lot of offense.
No.
Or Iowa didn't play a lot, but they got great defenses, those teams.
I could not watch that.
Iowa's going to play the winner of the Ohio State-Michigan game.
I know.
And that would be something if Iowa would upset either one of those.
Did you see after Iowa won their game, which was a terrible game?
15-13.
15-13.
Yeah.
And they were just mobbing Ferentz's son, who's out after this year. That was kind of a cool moment because I don't know him. Brian Ferentz, but it's pretty cool. Anyway. All right, Coach, we'll let you go. We'll be back with more on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law, his sponsor, Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Tebow Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
This week, the Gainesville Quarterback Club welcomes program editor and publisher of Gator Bait Magazine and The Buddy Martin Show, Mr. Buddy Martin. Very much looking forward to having him here at the club. And the next week, we have the HBC himself, Coach Steve Spurrier. Can't wait to hear what Coach has to say about this season.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And we have a surprise yes, no way, or maybe guest today. And he came all the way into the studio, all the way into Spurrier's Gridiron Grill to do the show. Just a little segment here we like to call Yes, No Way, or Maybe, the great Jeff Cardozo. Jeff,
Great
how
to
are
have you.
today?
Awesome. Good to be here and see you in person on one of these. So that's fun. Has there ever been a answer where it's not a yes, no way, or maybe?
Well, there's been some people that don't quite get the question. They go, well, maybe yes, maybe no way. So
You got to pick one, right?
For the most
That's what
part,
it's all
they're
about.
pretty good at it. Yeah, they're pretty good at it. Now, you were there, obviously, in Columbia.
Yep.
Just the feeling in the pit of your stomach when Graham Mertz went out.
Yeah, because obviously it happened then 2 plays after, and you're sitting there thinking, it was like, see, that's what this team is all about. That's what Graham Mertz is all about. For everybody that has doubted him or didn't think he was here for the right reasons, I think that play should show you everything.
Yeah.
And I don't ever really tweet much, and I was literally just about to pick it up and say, see, Gator Nation, that's what he is. And then you see him walking over to the sideline and just fall down right before he got there. So it was certainly tough to see. But hey, now you got a baseball boy taking over, and we'll see if, since they are the best athletes, Max Brown can do something good.
Did Max Brown play at all last year?
No. He was just
But he
around.
was on the, he was
there.
dressed out.
He did for some games.
Yeah, some games, yeah. So I mean, I love that little sidearm throw he had too. So he can move it up and down. But the problem for Florida this week is going to be that FSU's got a whole week to get ready for him.
Sure.
And they know that he's going to run the read option. He's going to actually run the ball in the read option.
And then obviously he threw it once down the field, and it was complete. Khalil made another great catch.
Yeah,
All that dude makes great catches. But I think they may not still know the arm strength that he has. And it would be dumb for them not to try a few shots with him, because I think he's certainly capable of getting the ball down the field, making an impact play.
And obviously, but that's the amazing thing about this is both coaches are sitting there going, okay, I got my backup quarterback now.
Yep.
So what am I going to do with him? How am I going to structure the offense around him? And we'll see. I mean, obviously, for Florida State, it wasn't a problem. They were playing North Alabama, which that's when I turned the game on. That's the only time I was watching the game. It's 13-0 North Alabama.
Yeah.
I got to watch this. And then
you see him
Travis
get hurt.
gets hurt. So.
And then the guy they bring in is like my twin brother.
He does.
Just tall, skinny, and goofy.
Yeah.
But
all those things apply.
Yeah, so we'll see. It is very strange, though, that it comes down to now 2 backup quarterbacks. When you thought, all right, sweet, the Gators have the advantage, and then it happens to Florida, too.
I mean, you never want to root for an injury. And
Sure.
And again, this is a guy who he wasn't going to be in the finalists, I don't think, for the Heisman.
No.
But he was probably 5th, on my ballot. I mean, again, you don't only have 3 on your ballot. But, all right, let's get to yes, no way, or maybe with the great Jeff Cardozo. And, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're only on one day this week. So you get one chance to listen to us on the radio on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's it, because Gator women's basketball, Gator men's basketball,
And then Gator men's
Gator
basketball
men's
again.
basketball again. It's crazy. All right, let's get to it. Number 1, Graham Mertz will be back next year. Yes, no way, or maybe.
I don't want to double the answer because you already said that that's not the right. I maybe. I think he certainly wants to come back. I think he likes being here. You don't know with the good season that he had if somebody says, "Hey, let's go do this." And obviously, he's not a young buck like you, Dool. So, getting into the NFL and maybe getting a shot would certainly be something that I think is offered to him. And if that's the last play that he makes in a Gator uniform, I mean, heck, look at the way he went out. So I would say maybe a maybe more than a yes. I would have said probably if he finished the year strong, yes, because there's a purpose to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, maybe it's time to then just jump in and see what happens.
Graham Mertz could also look at the quarterback play in the NFL and go, hey, I can play there.
I can do that. You got Danny DeVito throwing 3 touchdowns last week. I can do that.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's get to number 2, and that is on yes, no way, or maybe. Of course, it's brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak, where you can go in there and say, you listen to another Dooley Noted podcast, get free fries with your order. So, Jeff, there you go. And I know.
I got to start using that one.
We love our Big Mill's Cheesesteak.
Certainly do. Baseball themed in the store, too.
It is.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, number 2, Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman Trophy.
Yes.
I think he is going to win it. Now, I will say this. I think there's a Penix-Nix movement. To me, there's only 3 guys left.
Sure.
Now, it doesn't mean that's the 3 guys I'm going to vote for. I'm just saying there's only 3 guys that really have a chance. If their game is an epic game, because nobody's going to Jane Daniels obviously won't be playing that weekend.
Right.
I think one of those guys could go past him. Nix is still the betting favorite, which I'm surprised at.
It's just crazy. And what did Daniels do? Just 350 and 5 touchdowns in the first half last week again. So you can tell that they're now trying to make sure that he puts up whatever numbers possible to win that thing. But he's the best player I've seen this year by far.
His 8 touchdown, to me, was a little over the top.
Yeah.
That, to me, went, you're trying to win the Heisman. Those are the guys I tend not to vote for. I will say this. If I voted today, he'd probably be number 1. I won't be able to tell you in 2 weeks who I voted for because they make me keep it a secret or they kill my dog. So,
do you know off the top of your head that anyone with an X in their last name has ever won the Heisman?
that's a good question.
Because now you got 2 opportunities, right?
So, yeah. I don't think anybody with an X ever has.
Have to look that up.
Did Xavier McDaniels win the Heisman?
I
He was a basketball player. I'm trying to think of guys with X's in their name.
Yeah.
Right? Can't think of any. All right, finally, number 3 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Florida will be in Omaha this season. See, you knew I'd give you a baseball question.
Yeah. Yes. I think that there's a purpose to sully this team. The guys that he brought in, obviously losing Langford it's huge. I mean, you're talking about maybe the best player to ever play at Florida, and now he's gone. But Colby Shelton, the guy they brought in from Alabama, is really, really good, really good hitter.
Good fall too, yeah.
Better than I thought hitting-wise. He's going to play short, which not he's going to be as good as Rivera was at short, but he
could be as good as Rivera as a junior.
Yes, correct. Or freshman or sophomore.
Yeah, but not as a senior.
Yeah, not as a senior. Yeah. And then they've got a lot of depth too. I know, you certainly lose Sproat and you lose Waldrop, 2 guys that were the top of that rotation, but Cags look really good. Like I mean, if you had to start the season tomorrow, he would be the Friday night guy. He was the best out of everybody at throwing strikes and doing things. Still got to figure out what they're going to do on the back end. I think they had maybe some mindset that a freshman could handle that role, but that may not be the case. And then, so now Neely, is he on the back end again? And you've got a freshman that's going to be in the rotation that they absolutely love. The dude was like 96 to 98 in the fall. And then maybe Cade Fisher is the 3rd guy, but they'll be able to do enough. So
there's a lot of guys there. Yeah.
There's a lot of really good teams.
College baseball is kind of like college basketball.
You got to get hot at the right time and figure it out.
If you're not hot at the end, it doesn't really matter what you do during the regular season.
You're always hot, Duels.
Yeah. By the way, are you separated enough to be able to say whether Langford's the best ever at Florida, or is it still Wilkie, or is it still an argument?
Yeah,
don't look at stats.
Yeah, don't look at stats. I guess because Wilkie did it on both ends.
Yeah.
And getting to see the bird's eye view from the dugout, and I was just a little further up for Langford. And I saw, other than the 96 season, because I wasn't a part of that, so I saw 2 years of Wilkie from the dugout and 2 years of Langford basically from the press box. It's 1A, 1B. That's how good Wyatt was and the impact that he made. And obviously not having Wyatt in the lineup really was a difference for this team. And he got back in it, and the Gators don't get as far as they did without him. But, gosh, those teams, 97, 98, wouldn't have been as good nearly without Wilkie in it either. So
yeah, it's close. It's
very close.
It's a good argument to have. It's a fun
is.
argument to have that you had 2 guys you got to watch that we were both got to see a lot.
No doubt.
Obviously. All right, that's going to do it.
Thank you
for coming in. All right, well, we appreciate Jeff Cardozo for coming in. He's actually next door doing an interview with a Gator player right now, so he's a busy man, but we appreciate him taking the time to do it. And I think he's doing Jeffrey Meldon's podcast later today too, so that's cool. And Zach will be all over it, producing it. Let's finish up the 3rd segment with our fun stuff that we always like to do. We like to do everything here. The Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the area of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Well, check out their 5-star Google reviews. Set an appointment at hklawfl.com, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. Ken Hesser sent me a text last night, Zach. He was at the Pink concert. That's all he does is go to concerts and games. But he also works really hard too. So yeah, he's doing really. I love the texts and the videos I get from him. But anyway, let's get to Ken Hesser and Jennifer Kipke's 3 things. Number 1, there are. It's really interesting that they put this out on. I think it was on ESPN. There are 9 different teams that really have a shot at the college football playoff. Coach was talking about that earlier. But there are 9 paths to the playoffs, and this is the first time since they started the college football playoffs, we have 4 unbeaten teams. Never had that. Or actually, 4 unbeaten teams. Or is it 5? Actually, it's 5 unbeaten teams, yeah. Because there's Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington, FSU. Yeah, there's 5. I don't know why I wrote down 4. 5 unbeaten teams. Never had that before. Coach Spurrier and I were talking before we came on. He said he's figured out a way where we can have every 9 teams with 1 loss, and how great would that be? He wants chaos, and I love that. I want chaos too. I want those guys that have to work for that per diem that they get staying at that lovely place in Grapevine, Texas. So we'll see how it all goes. Look, these are the 2 weeks that really decide who plays in the playoffs, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get to number 2, which is that Tim Tebow will be honored on Saturday, as Coach mentioned, going into the Hall of Fame. That banquet, I think, is in January. I think it's a ways off, but they bring him into whatever school, he picks a game, and I'm sure that the SEC Nation is going to be here. I haven't even looked to see if that's true or not, but I'm sure they're not going to do the show without Tebow. And that's cool, and it'll be loud, and like Coach said, it's going to be great. It's great to see him and great to have him back. And I just remember the last time he came back, pretty big deal. So Coach will be out down there presenting him with his Hall of Fame plaque, and Tebow is still, I think, number 1 on most beloved. Like, if you want to list most beloved, I was thinking about doing this list. I do these 12 things for different things. I was thinking about most beloved quarterbacks, and it would still go. I think it would go Werfel, Spurrier. Even though there's no doubt Danny was better, but Spurrier coached him, and I think people would still remember Spurrier if it was just as a player, but you can't put that out of your brain, right? Spurrier would still be number 2. And he's the only one with a restaurant. Although Tebow, I think, has a stake in PDQ and some other place here in town. And then 4, I would probably put Rex Grossman. But I tell you what, I don't know that Graham Mertz would crack that top 12. I really don't, especially if he comes back next year and does some great things. So anyway, but Tim Tebow is still number 1. He'll be obviously, it'll get loud when he is honored. Let's get to number 3, and I'm going to give you this, and you guys, I know that sometimes I talk about music, sometimes I talk about movies on the podcast. I'm going to recommend something here. I watched it last night. Every time I turned it on HBO, or I would go to watch it, it would be at the end of it, so I'd say, I don't want to watch the end of it. I want to watch the whole thing. And it's called Defending My Life. It's Albert Brooks documentary. Rob Reiner did it. Rob Reiner, who also did Spinal Tap, one of the greatest movies ever. This is really good. It is so funny, and I don't think a lot of people realize how Albert Brooks changed comedy. He really did. He started reality shows. The movie, not Defending My Life, but Defending Your Life, is one of my favorite movies ever. Meryl Streep, Rip Torn. It's just awesome. Anyway, my point being, I'm highly recommending Defending My Life, the Albert Brooks documentary, to you. And Ken, when you get home, I want you and Jennifer to watch it. All right. That's our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get to our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. And I could have made it football. There were certainly some guys who did great things. I could have, I couldn't have made it volleyball. But I you know what? I made it cross country. There's no question where it goes to the winner of the national championship. Parker Valby did unbelievable. I mean, won it pretty easily too. She finished second last year. This year she finished first, and Florida finished fifth in the country. That's the highest they've ever finished. So those are good points for all those cups at the end of the year you're trying to win. But she is our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. She won it. I think she won it like 3 weeks ago when she won the regionals too. But now she's won it. Now she's won the big one. And Parker, if you want to ever go get ribs at Adams, I will buy them for you. I'm allowed to do that now, NIL wise. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. And we had a lot of contestants last week. We're going to give you a Thursday game, Thanksgiving game, give you a reason to watch it. I'm not sure there's a lot of good reasons to watch it, but there's a lot of games, and we'll get to those in a minute. But our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks is going to be the Thursday game. Ole Miss giving 11 at Mississippi State. That's a hard pick to make. I think Ole Miss is going to beat them. My gut is they're going to kill them, but it's a rivalry game. Hopefully nobody tries to pee on the football like that guy did, Elijah Moore, and cost them the game. But that is your Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick. Thursday, Ole Miss giving 11 at Mississippi State. And then, of course, Wednesday when we do our 300th episode show with Greg Stanky. Greg Stanky. I had a boss named Craig Stanky, and sometimes I do screw that up. Greg Sankey, please don't tell him when we do the show on Wednesday that I called him Greg Stanky. Greg Sankey, we will have another pick for you, and that'll be the Florida FSU game as one of them, and then we'll give you another game as well. Let's get to, that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Let's get to our Swamp games of the week. We'll give you all the games through Thursday, and then obviously on Wednesday we'll give you all the other games that are going on. But NFL tonight, what a game it's going to be. I hope the game lives up. And again, Philadelphia at Kansas City, Super Bowl teams from last year. It's on ABC. It's on ESPN. I think it's on 9 ESPN networks. I can't wait to watch it. But in the end, it doesn't really matter that much. It really doesn't. But it's just great athletes going against each other. And the two best teams, I don't think there's a great argument about that. We'll see what happens. And then if they play again way down the road, somebody will say, hey, you know what they did? They learned from their first time. That's the biggest impact it has. But I will be watching it. Thursday, also on Thanksgiving, you've got 3 games, none of which overwhelm me, but they're football and they're on TV. So guess what? I'll be watching them. Green Bay at Detroit is a 12:30 game on Fox. Washington at Dallas, the legendary traditional game. I don't know that it's that big a game. 4:30 on CBS. And then San Francisco at Seattle, 8:20 on NBC. So you got 3 games, plus you've got the Egg Bowl. What can you do but digest? That's all you can do is just you digest all that turkey you just ate. You ate way too much food. You know that. You probably drank too much. Just lay back in your recliner and enjoy it. You deserve it. You deserve it for all the hard work you do, all of you out there. And you deserve it for watching or listening to this podcast. The Thursday night, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, which I mentioned earlier on the Quick Picks, is 7:30 on ESPN. Florida plays Pittsburgh Wednesday night. That game is at 9:30 at night. I'll stay up and watch the whole thing. I will. I promise you. And I don't know if they've made a determination on this, but the last I saw it was either on the U or the 2. So it's either on ESPN-U or ESPN2. It's not on the Ocho. It's not on the regular ESPN. It's on one or the other. You'll be able to find it by 9:30 at night for those of you who are willing to stay up. So those are our Swamp games of the week. And believe me, they've got all kinds of great stuff happening at the Swamp Restaurant this weekend. for the game, for the week, for Thanksgiving, everything. It is going to be a party over there. A lot of BOGOs and $5 drinks and stuff. You can go on their website and see them all, but we appreciate Ryan and Kyle for being sponsors of this segment. We love having them on board. Finally, let us get to Pat Dooley's story time. It is brought to you by our great friends at Eastlake Pediatrics, Mike Jordan and the crew over there, who do a wonderful job. And I'm going to go back on Pat Dooley's story time today, brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics, to 1996. And I think I remember this right, but I may not. And I probably should have asked Coach Spurrier about it. 1996, Florida's getting ready to go play FSU in Tallahassee. I'm pretty sure it was Thanksgiving Day. They had kind of a practice, but not a serious. Thursday's practice is not intense. But somebody had to cover it. Robbie, I can't remember why Robbie couldn't do it, but he couldn't do it because family reasons, whatever. So they said, hey, can you do it? I said, yeah, sure. I'll eat. I'll go out there. They'll have eaten. I'll go out there and watch it. But you can't watch it back then. Not the Thursday. So all you could do is kind of, if you could sneak a peek between like two things on a fence, you could watch it. So I did. I watched as much as I could. And what I saw was, and I swear this happened, Florida ran a couple of plays out of the shotgun. I'm like, whoa, haven't seen that before. Didn't see it in the game. Saw it a little bit the next week, and then obviously saw it to win the national championship. They also ran a play that I had not seen before, and that was they put Jacquez Green way out right, and they ran like a fake in and then a straight out. And it worked, and they did it in the game, and that was one of the 2 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns they scored. They could have scored more. But so I felt like I learned so much just watching through little slit Florida going through a walkthrough. And I still learned a lot about Florida football. That was, of course, the game didn't end up good, but the end result ended up great. And maybe it will for this team. Maybe this team can pull off this win. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday when we return. Well, again, our 300th episode show, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, will join us. Thanks to Zach for doing a wonderful job. We'll get out of his way now. He's got other things to do. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.